going on, Saints fans? Welcome to another edition of Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trace Girouard. Thank you so much for tuning in, no matter where you are or how you're watching. We always appreciate the Houdat Nation for taking some time out of the day to come and hang out with us. So for today's show, we're diving into the latest news and rumors around the black and gold. We've already talked a little bit about the salary cap increasing. That was in a previous video, so go check that out on the channel. So in today's show, Saints have hired a couple more coaches. Kellen Moore continues to fill out his staff, and cut candidate has been named by PFF, and that is Cam Jordan. So we're going to break that down. But if you want more Saints videos, if you have a hard time getting Saints content on your feed, I highly recommend you like today's video. It helps YouTube understand you want more Saints content. You want to see more from Trizzy Trace, Ross Jackson, Nick Underhill, and everyone else who makes awesome Saints content. Hit the thumbs up icon and do yourself a favor. Alrighty, so this is the first piece of news. We're going to start off by discussing the special teams coordinator hire. We have a coordinator. It's officially official. Phil Galiano. He has been promoted as the New Orleans Saints special teams coordinator. Last year, he did serve under Darren Rizzi, and he's been around the Saints learning under Darren Rizzi, and I think that this is an excellent hire because he's very deserving of the promotion. And you know, when you look back at last year, there wasn't a lot of good things about the New Orleans Saints, but one really good thing was the special teams side of things. And Darren Rizzi did a phenomenal job when he was the special teams coordinator. However, when Rizzi was promoted to be the interim head coach after Dennis Allen got fired, I think Phil Galiano did an excellent job leading the special teams unit. He was the special teams coordinator, and he led the special teams unit after Rizzi was promoted. So I think that this is a really, really awesome opportunity for a guy who, quite frankly, deserves the chance. And, you know, no question about it, I'm going to miss the Rizzler. I am going to miss Darren Rizzi. That fiery Italian personality, I mean, he was awesome. I loved having Darren Rizzi on this team. But now it's time for Dr. Phil. I want to see Dr. Phil Galiano get after it this season. I want to see that special teams unit continue to block punts, continue to block field goals, wreak havoc on opposing kickers. And I also want to see them just be a good special teams unit once again. Again, congratulations to Phil Galiano. Big-time promotion there. So here is the current coaching staff. As you can see, still no defensive coaches have been hired, but Doug Nussmeier, he has been there's a report out there that Josina Anderson put that the Saints are finalizing a deal with Doug Nussmeier to be the offensive coordinator. It hasn't been made official by the team. It hasn't been announced by Nick Underhill or by Adam Schefter or anybody else. But Josina Anderson reporting they're finalizing a deal. I expect that to be happening and be done and be announced anytime now. So we're just going to go ahead and say he has been hired, and you can see the rest of it. There's even another name here, Ted Rath. We're going to talk about him in just a moment. But again, I mentioned it already. Still no defensive coaches have been hired. That domino will fall soon. It will, in my opinion, be Brandon Staley. And in my thoughts, I think that this is some move that'll happen just, you know, pretty soon. Just full transparency. I think this happens very, very quickly. I do think that when it comes down to some potential defensive coordinator candidates, there have been a couple names that have been interviewed. Christian Parker and Durante Jones, both defensive back coaches for their respective teams. Brandon Staley, he was the assistant head coach or assistant head coach, I believe, for the 49ers this past year. He served as the head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers when Kellen Moore was the OC for him. And before that, he was the defensive coordinator for the best defense in the league when the Rams won the Super Bowl. So feels like it was a pretty good run there for defensive coordinator. This was an obvious choice for OC. It's an even more obvious choice for defensive coordinator. The Saints, for what it's worth, they have satisfied the Rooney Rule. They can make a hire at any moment in time. I mean, like, in the next 2 minutes, they can make a hire. That being said, I don't know when it'll happen. It's obvious it's going to be Brandon Staley. I think it's a great duo of two young minds who, when they're running their respective sides of the football, are really good at those roles. So we'll have to see how things mix up when the roles are reversed where, you know, Kellen Moore is the head coach and the head honcho and Brandon Staley is the support system as the defensive coordinator. But, you know, I want to ask you this question. Would you hire Brandon Staley as a defensive coordinator? Just hit the thumbs up icon if that's the answer is yes. If not, shout him out in the comment section. Let me know who you would want to be the defensive coordinator. Now, coming up, I mentioned it off the top of the show. Cameron Jordan, he has been named by Pro Football Focus as a potential cut candidate and cap casualty for the New Orleans Saints. I have a lot of thoughts to discuss, and we're going to dive into everything that PFF had to say. But really quick, I got to tell you about today's presenting sponsor, Public Rec, the absolute best clothes that I have ever worn. And let's be real, fellas, nobody's got time for stiff, uncomfortable clothes. And I'm not talking just pants, I'm talking shirts too. And it's February, it's cold outside. I'm literally looking out the window. There's flurries happening here in Dallas, Texas. I'm not worried. There's flurries, I ain't worried, because I'm rocking that Public Rec. Public Rec, for a limited time, you can actually get 20% off your entire order if you use our code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. It's CHAT20. See it at the bottom of your screen. Public Rec, not only do they have awesome pants, they also have so many great style options, whether you're working all day in the office, you're running errands, or you're just going to grab a drink with the fellas. Their pants are designed to be as comfortable as your favorite sweats, but way more stylish. We're talking super soft fabric, no stiff seams, and enough stretch to keep up with whatever your day throws at you. So this February, stop settling for the same old stuff and step up your comfort game with Public Rec. It's about time you treat yourself, so use the links in the comment section description of this video to get 20% off your order by using code CHAT20. I know you guys are seeing this shirt. I know you guys have seen me rock this shirt a couple of times. I will not stop talking about Public Rec because I absolutely love their products. And on top of that, their customer service department is absolutely incredible. They are second to none. I cannot emphasize enough how much you will love your wardrobe and love yourself in Public Rec clothes. So go down to the comment section and description of this video. Use the link, publicrec.com, code CHAT20, CHAT20, to get 20% off your order. Thank you, Public Rec, for sponsoring today's video. All that information, like I mentioned, is in the comments and description. Alrighty, let's keep this train rocking and rolling. Dan Graziano, he is informing the NFL, or he put out this report, I should say, that the salary cap, it's going to increase. We're going to break this down in great detail on the channel as well. If you haven't seen it already, then I highly encourage you to go check it out on the channel. If we haven't posted it, well, it's coming soon. That's why you subscribe. 277 to 281 million. That's kind of the range that we're thinking. Notably, the cap has increased more than $53 million over the last 2 seasons. So right off the bat, before we even have this conversation, the Saints got great news here, and the salary cap just got a little bit more manageable for New Orleans. But let's now talk about Cam Jordan, because right now he's carrying a base salary of $12.5 million. He's 35 years old, and, look at the production. It isn't anything to go run home about, and I'm a big fan of Cam Jordan. He's going to always go down as one of my favorite players in NFL history. That being said, this is a business. This is something that we have to talk about, and it's not guaranteed that he returns. I think it's likely, but it's not guaranteed, so this is why we're going to have the conversation. Now, PFF saying that cutting Cam Jordan, particularly after June 1st, would be a logical step in addressing the cap space. The 2024 season didn't go as planned for the franchise legend, who finished with a 54.3 PFF pass rushing grade and a career worst 54.4 PFF run defense grade. Now, obviously, PFF grades, they aren't the gospel when it comes to defensive linemen. They aren't the gospel when it comes to NFL players as a whole, but it is a good indicator of kind of, where they at. And when you're not putting up good numbers and you're not playing great football and the tape is kind of iffy, you have to consider the cap savings route here. And, one thing I'll also say here is with Cam Jordan, he has sort of taken a back seat, and he has sort of kind of been a backup almost, because Chase Young was taken over as a starter and Carl Granderson has been doing great. So, we've seen Cam Jordan move around all across the line. So, if you wanted to just say this isn't working, we're trying to force something to work, there is a path to saving money with Cam Jordan through these avenues. But I will say this, it's been very clear over the past, especially couple of years, but over the course of Cam Jordan's tenure, he wants to return to the New Orleans Saints, and he wants to be a part of this organization. He wants to retire a member of the black and gold. He even said, hopefully I'm part of the picture. We don't know. We're just sitting in an uncertain time. We don't know what's going to happen. Kellen Moore has even said, we like a lot of things in here. We don't want to get rid of the good. We don't want to just cancel out the good, because there is some good here on the roster. I think Cam Jordan is a part of that. Sure, the production isn't what it used to be, but I think that he is a good leader of men. I think he's a good mentor for young players. And honestly, a change in the defensive scheme could actually really benefit Cam Jordan. PFF continued to say Jordan was effectively relegated to backup duties behind Carl Granderson and Chase Young. Cutting Cam Jordan after June 1st would save $11 million as opposed to costing the Saints roughly $3 million if you move on before them. Well, I don't think you actually have to move on from Cam Jordan. He's willing to take a pay cut. He's willing to make things work. He doesn't want to leave New Orleans. He loves the Superdome. He loves the fans. He loves the state. He loves the city. He's even saying that taking a pay cut, quote, that's what agents are for. I'm willing to work. I love being a part of the city. So for me, I think when it comes down to Cam Jordan, see if you can make a pay cut happen. See if you can make something work out here. Cam Jordan deserves to retire a New Orleans Saint. And sure, maybe I'm looking at things through a black and gold colored lenses, but I will say Cam Jordan, I hate to be that guy, you don't have much better pass rush than when you lose him. I know it's only 4 sacks last year, but Isaiah Foskey hasn't done anything yet. We sure as hell don't know what's going on with Tano Passanio if he can come back and be healthy. There's a lot of question marks behind Cameron Jordan. I have been sharing a lot of my thoughts on social media. I have been posting about this a lot. I personally think Cam Jordan's going to return. I just think it just makes too much sense. I think that he's going to figure out a way to make this work. I think he's going to be willing to take a pay cut, willing to figure out some sort of financial, give some sort of financial relief to the New Orleans Saints in order to benefit the team. He knows that what we're building is special, and I think he wants to be a part of sending that off into the sunset and getting that off the ground and making this happen. I love Cam Jordan. I will never vouch to cut him. I will never vouch to trade him. That's just a personal belief, and I can understand if you might want to rip me for that. But you don't get rid of franchise legends. That's just my opinion. You don't get rid of legends. So what will happen with Cam Jordan? Do you think he gets traded? Do you think he gets cut? Do you think he retires or pay cut? Nothing happens? Restructure? What do you think is going to happen? A lot of things could go down with Wham Bam. Thank you, Cam. But let me know down in the comments section what the future holds for number 94. And Saints fans, y'all stay golden. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.